What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'll be bringing you guys a profile of my MimiGhoul mash deck. The reason why I decided to call it that is because I run a bunch of different engines to give this deck more consistency. It's just for my playstyle. I'm a control type of player, so I like to be able to have different things to control the board, you know what I mean? But before I start talking too much, I already recorded this profile one time before and it didn't come out right, so I'm redoing it right now. So let's get right into the profile. So first up on the list, I run double MimiGhoul Master. I do have a third, but I decided to only run two because I don't like really opening this card. Game 2, 3, I typically side one of them out. But Master is basically a Stratos, and if you control another MimiGhoul on board, he can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. He has some survivability to him, and during your opponent's main phase, you can flip a face down monster face up. So you can do some really cool plays with him and MimiGhoul Rune. Master's a good card, but you only really need one of them, but I play two just so I can see him game one. You get what I mean? Get some things going. Next up on the list, I run two Cerebrus. Just like Master, it's a cool card, but I really don't want to see it like that. I like summoning this off of MimiGhoul Maker onto my opponent's board. If anything, I mean, you could summon it directly there, but when you go MimiGhoul Maker, you're typically going to go for this, and you're going to go for an Archfiend. If you're not going for this and Archfiend, you're going to go for Archfiend and a Sorc, but a Fire Sorcerer. But Cerberus is not bad, and he gives you an additional body if you need it because he banishes 3 off of the top of your opponent's deck. And then if it's a monster, your opponent can choose which monster they want to special summon to your side of the field in defense position. So it's not as strong as the other cards, but game 2, 3, I typically side one of these out as well. Next up, we got triple Archfiend. Archfiend is really good for ripping hands, and he draws you a card, so it's really good. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about Archfiend. It's really good. Like I said, when you go MimiGhoul Maker, you're going to be going for him, and you're going to either go for Cerberus or Fire Sorc if you play it. When he's normal summoned or special summoned, you can flip a card on your opponent's side of the field face up. Next up on the list, I run triple Dragon. Dragon is just too good. He's like your Stratos, but he just searches the spells and traps. So when you summon him, you're typically going to go for MimiGhoul Maker or MimiGhoul Room, or the fill spell if you really need it. If you're trying to like stop your opponent from being able to normal summon next turn, like Tenpai or Snake Eye, stuff like that. So Dragon is really good though. I love that he blows up the board and he also searches parts of your combo that you need. And when the field spell is on board, after you pass your turn, he becomes a 2500 beast sticks. It's just crazy. Next up, we have the honorary MimiGhoul Monster Fire Sorcerer. I definitely side this out game 2 or 3. Game 1 is cool because it just speeds up just ripping cards out of the hand. Like I said, I'm a control player, so I want to be able to not let you play the game, but you can still play the game just with one card or two. You know what I mean? However I'm feeling that day or how lucky I get off of the dice roll. But yeah, Fire Sorc is terrible to draw, but when you do get it off, it is a great card to go off. You know what I mean? I love it. And it's going up in price. This old school card is going up in price. Ain't that crazy? The next package that we play in MimiGhoul Mash is the Verna Sil Engine. So we're running 3 of the Seedling, then we're running double of the Hill, and then we're running 1 of the Teddy Bear. So this is the little package that I decided to run. I love this package in this deck because everything is damn near Earth. The only thing that's not Earths is your Sorc, and the other engine that I run. Can't go wrong with this. Just adds more utility to the deck, and it allows you to special summon your guys without having to commit to a normal summon, so it just gives you more plays later. You know what I mean? And the fact that these recur each other and this one lets you draw is just too good, you know what I mean? And they look cute. You know what I mean? They kind of like the lighter version of the MimiGhouls, you feel me? Next up on the list for packages, we run a small Kashtira package of 3 Fenrir. I like Fenrir and I love Unicorn, but I really hated drawing Birth. When I was running the 2 Fenrir, 1 Unicorn, 1 Birth, I really hate drawing that card. It just does nothing for the deck at the time, and I want to be able to draw cards that can do things. So 3 Fenrir puts pressure on the board for your opponent. Your opponent always like plays funny around this card. You drop this first and then you go into your plays, or you know, you could run a Unicorn too. You know what I mean? I've seen some people run Unicorn and they run Birth and Theosis, but for me personally, this just works just fine. I do miss the Unicorn sometime, but I don't mind the 3 Fenrirs, and it's an Earth. Next up on the list, final package that we run in the deck, Fiendsmith. So we run triple Engraver and the 1 Lurie, of course. It's Fiendsmith, you know what I mean? It just gives you extra plays and extra things to do in the deck, which I do feel like you need in this deck. It gives you like boss monsters, it gives you like just different utility plays, and you could also swap out 6s for what you're trying to do to set up whatever kind of end board you're trying to set up. So gotta run this package, gotta run this package. Now let's go into our spell lineup. First off, we got the MimiGhoul Dungeon. Sometimes I swap out between 2 and 3 of these because you do play the terraforming. So terraforming is essentially another one of these, but this card is just too good. I love this card. It stops your opponent from normal summoning if they control, or if either one of us control a face down monster, neither one of us can normal summon, and special summon monsters can't attack turn their summon. So it's a great card to stun your opponent, and it also acts as a Stratos because once per turn you can search a MimiGhoul monster to your hand. MimiGhoul Dungeon is just a great card. I love it. Can't say too much more about it, you know what I mean? The next broken card for the spell lineup is MimiGhoul Maker. This card actually convinced me to play the archetype because it's just so broken. Being able to reveal 2 flips, summon one to your opponent's side of the field and add one to your hand, and it can also special summon a MimiGhoul monster from your hand. It doesn't have to be the one that you added. And if your opponent special summons, you can banish this card from the graveyard and flip up a face down on their side of the field. So that is really good because if you activate room, put a dragon on their side of the field and they have a board, or you know they're about to go into a play, you can activate this from grave, and they special summon, you can activate this from grave, just end up popping their whole board. Or if you have an Archfiend and they have 1 or 2 cards in hand, you can rip cards from their hand and draw one. So next up on the list, again, I said I'm a control player, so I play 3 of the Summoning Curse. You drop this card, people typically don't understand that every time you summon a MimiGhoul to their side of the field, they have to rip one from their hand and banish it. So you play 2 of these, you summon 1 MimiGhoul, that's 2 cards. You play 3, that's 3 cards, you get what I mean? And then you leave it there at the end phase, you pay 500 to keep it alive. You can turn it off whenever you want. This is another reason why I like the card. If you ever play this card on your turn and you're trying to special summon something, just set all your spells and traps first, and then go ahead and do that. Or before you're about to make a major play that's gonna require you to special summon something, make sure you know that, so you have something to banish, like the Sork that was added to hand from Maker. People hate this card. I love this card. It puts people in check, and it makes people have to think twice about special summoning before they special summon. And this card is going up. When I bought them, they were like $6, $7. Now they're like $15. Crazy. Next up, I play triple Soldier Villain Light. This is an OG card. I'm surprised more people don't play this card. This card in the main is just really good to me. Being able to put MimiGhouls on their side of the board and then flip them up and then have your talents and tactics live whenever you want. I just think it's an amazing thing. It's a plus, not a once per turn card. And when your opponent sees this on the field, they waste a resource to get rid of this. So I've had games where this actually goes all 3 turns, and I've been able to set up combo or just get things going or wipe things away. And just sit on this, and I'm able to attack and slap up my opponent and they can't do anything. A lot of people don't run like certain outs like the Cosmics and stuff, or the Dusters, like they don't mean them, so you know, it's really good. I never side any of these. I just leave them in because it just helps you out. Next up on the list, we run Double Prosperity. To be honest, I really don't like this card in the main, or I just don't like this card in here, but you do need a little bit more draw power, and I'm only really activating 1 of these because I actually use my extra deck. Activating this is kind of like pulling teeth for me. 2 is good. 3, I definitely wouldn't run 3 personally, but you know, some people like it, some people don't. I don't like it like that in here, but yeah. Next up, we run 2 Thrust, and then we run 2 Talents. These cards are broken in this deck, and these are also the reasons why I decided to play this deck, because you can turn these on at any point in time. You don't have to wait for your opponent to activate something, because the minute you activate a MimiGhoul on their side of the field, it's live, you get what I mean, and it's lit. This is the reason why I play the deck. You feel what I'm saying? Like, this just adds to more control. You know what I mean? This just proves my point about just being a control player and just having control. Some people play 3 and 3. I like 2 and 2. A lot of my profiles, you'll see 2s. I don't really like 3s unless I'm able to play them back to back to back, like Imperm, Swords, stuff like that. So we like cards that we can play right away. Next up on the list for our 1-ofs, run the 1 Call By, the 1 Duster, the 1 Raigeki, and the 1 Terraforming. Of course, I gotta play some power cards because, you know, this deck lacks in the power department, so we have to play stuff to board wipe, board clear, and just get things going and search, you know? And lastly, for my Fiendsmith engine, we got the 1 Tracked. You know what I mean? Gotta play this. Turn 1, you go into this, they activate something, you're like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? It's cool, it's good, it's whatever. You know what I mean? Next up for the traps, we play triple MimiGhoul Room. This card is really good, and it allows you to do some little crafty plays with putting stuff on their side of the board, especially when you have Dungeon up, and in their draw phase or standby phase, you can activate this, set 1, and they can't do anything. You know what I mean? They can't flip it up, and they cannot normal summon. So yeah, they're kind of, unless they tribute it off or they do something like that, then this card is just too good. You know what I mean? And you can bounce any amount of MimiGhoul cards from your side of the field back to your hand, which is good for saving certain things for next turn, or recurring or reusing certain things to continue disrupting or just annoying the shit out of your opponent to potentially go for game. MimiGhoul Room at 3 is really good. I used to only play 1 of that card, but I really want to see it. So lastly, for the trap lineup, we have triple Imperm, it's imperm, like one of the best hand traps of the format, and their ultimates, like, come on now, it's imperm. I love this card. Like, it's not a once per turn, activate anytime. I don't need to talk about imperm, it's imperm. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, you feel me? That's about it for the main deck. Now, let's go to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, it's forever changing, and I'm constantly looking for new things to add, take away, change up, switch up, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, so for the blue cards, we run 1 Donner Dagger Fur Hire. This is just good for one-on-one spot removal when your opponent has something that's annoying to deal with, or that can only be targeted to be destroyed, etc., etc., etc. This gets the job done. Then we have the 1 Anima. Anima is so good, and when you're playing this deck and you're placing these MimiGhouls, you want to place them in every other column, so that way the 2 link columns are open, and you'll be able to Anima at any point in time and take something because their other slots are filled. So keep that in mind when you're placing these monsters, so that way your Anima is always live. Okay? Okay. And lastly, for the blue cards that's not part of a package, we have the SP. Too good, gotta run it, SP. You know what I mean? You get so much little bodies back on the board that SP is always live. So yeah, yeah, SP. My Xyz. We run 1 Evolzar Lars. I like having Evolzar Lars in the extra deck because it allows me to do something with my Fiendsmith play that gives me something that I can negate things with, or just stop certain things. So I really like this card. Some people don't like this card, but I like this card. You know what I mean? It just puts more pressure on my opponent. Basically, that's all I want to do. Just put more pressure on you. Make you think twice about things that you got to do. Next up, we run the Zeus package with Zeus, Lyrilisk, and Downard. When you have your little guys on the board, being able to go into this, swing 2 times, then this, send everything to the grave, I just feel like it's too good. And you can do this twice per turn, which kind of caught me off guard. Somebody did it to me and I was like, damn, I didn't even know Zeus could do that. You know what I mean? Maybe it's me and I'm still just getting back into the game and getting accustomed, but I was like, damn, Zeus is broken. Next up, we run the 1 Punishment. I do have the other guy too, but I feel like at 1, he's good enough. And I kind of really never need to go into him, but he's there if I ever need it, you know? If I need to flip something at the drop of a dime, you know? And then we run the Fuco, you feel what I'm saying? What the fuck? We run the Fuco, stops Tenpai, and it just gives you an extra turn to live, you know? Sometimes you just need that just to do something else, you know? So why not? Finally, to round off the extra deck, we have the Fiendsmith package with the 1 Requiem, the Desiree, the Lacrima, Necroquip Princess, Sequentia, and we run the Moon of the Closed Heaven. You have to run this package. This is it's too good not to run it, and it just allows you to do more things. As long as you can do more things to stop your opponent or just keep things going, you'll be fine with this deck. But yeah. So for the extra deck, I'm running 2 Shifter. I did have 3 in at one point, but I think 2 is good enough. You want to see it, but I don't want to clog on it. Shifter is a turn skip, you know what I mean? And it doesn't hurt you too much in this deck, even though you run the Verna Sil and stuff like that. You just got to know when to drop it. I don't just drop this like on turn 1 as soon as I go. I let my opponent do something and then I respond to it with this, so that way I at least gain something off of dropping Shifter. I feel like that's how you should personally play Shifter. I don't think you should just go Shifter because you don't know what your opponent's playing. And yeah. Next up, play 2 Spooky Dogwood. This is just for time, because being that you're playing a deck that is like kind of stunish, you do go into time sometimes and you just need something to make you not lose. I know you have the Lacrima you can burn for 1200, but when you burn for that 1200, you can just put such a deficit between you and your opponent that they're just not coming back. So yeah, and then you run swords and stuff like that. So like it's pretty annoying. Next 2 cards, we run Double Cosmic. I might bump this up to 3 because sometimes you just need some back row removal, especially against certain decks that play floodgates like Skill Drain, etc., etc. You just need something to get that shit off the board because it can really mess up your day. I run the 1 Dark Ruler. I'm probably gonna bump this up. I'm surprised I only have 1 in here, but yeah, 1 Dark Ruler, 1 Lightning Storm, more power cards, and then people never see this coming, the Triple Threatening Roar. I love this card. I play this in this deck, and then I also sided in my Snake Eyes deck, just so I could live, because going against Tenpai, just certain decks is just annoying. So it just allows you to live 1 more turn and yeah, just set up other plays to just come back. Sometimes you really just need one more turn to live and just get shit going, or to just stop some shit. So yeah, Threatening Roar, I love this card. It's good to me. Next up, we play one evenly. I have 3, but I decided to only play 1. I only like this card at 1. Some people like it at 3, but I only like it at 1. Tikaboo, really good. You run a bunch of different types in here, so it's never a problem. The only thing that conflicts is when you go Fiendsmith and you have like an Archfiend on board already. That kind of can get annoying or can get awkward, but Tikaboo, too good. And lastly, we play the double dimensional barrier. This is also good. Gotta get QCRs, but yeah, part itself. Secrets are cool though, right? So that's about it for the deck profile. I've really been enjoying playing this deck. It's been really fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of support they put out next. This deck definitely needs a monster that is good for back row removal. So I'm pretty sure that's what they're gonna probably end up making next. And they also need their own link. Being that this is an exclusive, you know what I mean? I'm really excited to see how this deck like unfolds in the future. And I'm glad I already got my QCRs and just everything blinged out already. So I don't really need to worry too much, but that's about it for the profile. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and leave any suggestions below. Remember, with these deck profiles, when you build decks, you're building for your playstyle particularly. You're not building for anybody else but your playstyle. So keep that in mind. A lot of this stuff is attuned and accustomed to my playstyle, and I'm constantly making changes to trim the fat off. I know there's a lot of cards that I could probably take out, but I just like having a lot of options with this deck and a lot of different things that I can do. That's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.